What if I told you that behind Frank Sinatra's legendary voice and magnetic stage presence lay a web of dangerous connections that could have destroyed not just his career but his life? This is the untold story of how Old Blue Eyes made a deal with the devil himself and paid a price that haunted him until his final breath. Picture this, it's 1947 and a young Frank Sinatra sits in a dimly lit restaurant in New York's Little Italy. The air is thick with cigarette smoke and whispered conversations. Across from him sits Giancana, a man whose reputation for violence was matched only by his power in the Chicago underworld. What brought these two men together wasn't friendship, it was desperation. Sinatra's career was hanging by a thread. His Bobby Soxer fans had grown up, his voice had changed, and Columbia Records was ready to drop him. But Giancana saw something in the crooner that others missed, and he was willing to make an investment. The question is, what did Sinatra promise in return? Here's where the story takes a chilling turn. According to FBI files declassified decades later, Sinatra didn't just receive help from the mob, he became their messenger, their entertainer, and some say, their unwitting accomplice. The evidence was hidden in plain sight, buried in the glamour of the Rat Pack era. Imagine discovering this just weeks before a major performance. How would you feel knowing your success came at such a cost? The transformation was immediate and dramatic. Within months of that fateful meeting, Sinatra landed the role that would resurrect his career, Maggio in From Here to Eternity. But here's what most people don't know, the producer initially refused to consider him for the part. Then, one morning, he found a horse's head in his bed. Sound familiar? That scene from The Godfather wasn't pure fiction, it was based on what allegedly happened to help Sinatra get that Oscar-winning role. The phone records from that period, discovered in a dusty FBI warehouse in the 1990s, tell a story that would make your blood run cold. Late-night calls between Sinatra's Beverly Hills home and known mob headquarters. Meetings in Las Vegas casinos where money changed hands like poker chips. The singer who crooned about love and romance was living a double life that would have shocked his millions of fans. But the real price Sinatra paid wasn't just in favors, it was in fear. Former FBI agent William Romer, who spent years tracking organized crime, revealed in his memoirs that Sinatra lived in constant terror. Every knock on the door could be his last. Every phone call might be the one that demanded something he couldn't give. The most haunting detail comes from Sinatra's own daughter, Tina. In her biography, she described how her father would sometimes wake up screaming in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat. When she asked him what was wrong, he would just stare out the window and whisper, "The chickens always come home to roost, baby. They always do." You'll soon discover how this nightmare became very real during the Kennedy administration. When John F. Kennedy won the presidency in 1960, many believed Sinatra's connections to Giancana had helped deliver crucial votes in Illinois. But when Kennedy appointed his brother Robert as Attorney General, everything changed. Bobby Kennedy declared war on organized crime, and suddenly, Sinatra found himself caught in the crossfire. The betrayal came swiftly and brutally. In 1962, President Kennedy was scheduled to stay at Sinatra's Palm Springs compound during a West Coast visit. Sinatra spent thousands of dollars preparing for the presidential visit, installing a helicopter landing pad and upgrading security. But just days before the visit, Kennedy canceled. The reason? FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover had presented the president with a thick file documenting Sinatra's mob connections. Which side do you believe, the official story that these were just business relationships, or the hidden documents that suggest something much darker? Tell us below. That cancellation broke something inside Frank Sinatra. Friends later described how he took a sledgehammer to the concrete helicopter pad himself, swinging with a fury that seemed to shake his entire estate. The man who had everything, who could fill any venue and charm any crowd, realized that his secret had become his prison. But the most chilling revelation came in 1975, during a Senate hearing on organized crime. Under oath, Giancana was asked directly about his relationship with Sinatra. Before he could answer, before he could reveal what many believed would be explosive testimony, Giancana was found dead in his Chicago home, shot 7 times while cooking sausages. The timing was no coincidence. Stay with me because the final piece of this puzzle will change everything you thought you knew about Frank Sinatra. In the summer of 1984, a package arrived at the offices of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Inside were photocopies of bank records, hotel registrations, and what appeared to be Sinatra's own handwritten notes. The documents painted a picture of a man who had become addicted to the danger, who couldn't break free even when he wanted to. One note, dated just 3 years before his death, simply read, "I sold my soul in Little Italy, and I've been paying interest ever since." The tragedy of Frank Sinatra isn't that he made a deal with dangerous men, it's that he spent the rest of his life trying to undo a bargain that couldn't be broken. Every standing ovation, every sold-out show, every moment of adulation was shadowed by the knowledge that his success had come at a price that could never be fully paid. In his final years, Sinatra would often end his concerts with a song that seemed to carry extra weight, My Way. But those who knew the truth understood the bitter irony. Frank Sinatra had done it his way, but that way had led him down a path from which there was no return. The man who sang about flying to the moon and back had been grounded by earthly demons of his own making. And in the end, the voice that had brought joy to millions carried the weight of secrets that would follow him to his grave. I leave you with the song Frank Sinatra loved to listen to in his final years, a haunting reminder of the choices we make in the wee small hours of the morning. See you in the next video.